Hi everyone, I am back with another video. This time, this is a long awaited video. I've been teasing this for months. This is my second I read insert celebrities book recommendations. So you're probably already wondering who this celebrity is. So, I took on the challenge of reading Johnny Depp's reading recommendations. So if you don't know, where have you been? What rock have you been living under? Johnny Depp is an actor, a singer. He's in the band The Hollywood Vampires with Alice Cooper. I went to actually go and see him in Manchester Arena, and they were absolutely fantastic. I've been a big fan of Johnny Depp since I was a little kid. I have seen all the Pirates of the Caribbean movies, seen Edward Scissorhands, Dark Shadows, Alice in Wonderland. I've seen most of the films he's been in. I am quite proud of that fact. But what I have never done is read the books he's read. Now there were some questionable ones in here, I have to admit. Some I was like, what on earth am I reading? Why am I reading this? Why did I do this to myself? But I have found some books that I really liked, and I actually found a couple of favourites. And that is the whole point of this. I have some more celebrities lined up, so don't get too antsy about this. We've got quite a few more celebs lined up. And 2 alternate videos as well for 2 of them. So I am going to start off with one of them, which was The Fierce Invalid's Home from Hot Climates by Tom Robbins. I only got 40-something pages in before I actually ended up DNFing this. This was not my thing. So this doesn't even count towards my reading goal this year. I just wanted to add this on here in case people were looking at what he's read. So this is about a character called Switter, who is an anarchist who works for the government, a pacifist who carries a gun, a vegetarian who tops up gravy, and a cyber whiz who hates computers. A robust bonvert who can't be as squeamish as any fop, a man who's obsessed with the preservation of innocence, and is aching to deflower his high school-aged stepsister, only to become enamoured of a nun 10 years his senior. Yet there is remotely wishy-washy about Switter's is he doesn't merely pack a pistol, he is a pistol. This was just too weird for me. Just too weird. So yeah. It's just one of them things. It was way too weird. So now, we'll get into the actual ones I read. So I'm going to have to search these because I read these a long time ago. Give me a second, Budry's not playing football. Okay, so the first one I read was The People's Act of Love by James Meek. So this is set in 1919 Siberia. And it's in the outer reaches of a country recently torn apart by civil war lives a small Christian sect and its enigmatic leader, Bolshov. Stationed in their midst is a company of Czech soldiers on the losing side of a recent conflict and desperate to get home. Into this isolated community trusts Samarin, an escapee from the Russian northernmost prison. His arrival intrigues many of the locals, including Anna Petrovna, a beautiful young war widow but when a local shaman is found dead, suspicion of terror engulfs the little town. The People's Act of Love is an epic drama of desire and sacrifice and a grand fable for modern times. As one of the most outstanding and unforgettable pieces of fiction to appear in recent years, this magnificent book confirms James Meek as a writer and a prodigious talent. I actually gave this 4 stars. I was not actually expecting to like this at all. This is certainly something that is not up my alley. But the individual characters find themselves, find love, and actually find the meaning of life in this. And James Meek brings us all those stories together really well. There's a very good historical aspect to this, and it's entwined, and it helps brings the characters and situations actually to life, and it has a realistic feel. I did Russian political history in my first year of college before I left, and I did a little bit extra when I was doing my studies for something else. And this actually, I would recommend for anyone doing Russian history at A level, read this. Actually read this. I adored this book. Then we'll move on to... It's nice to be able to actually say something about these now. Next one is The Ginger Man by J.P. Donlevy. So, I don't even know what to say about this. So it was first published in Paris in 1955, and the book follows an often racy misadventure of a young American called Sebastian Dangerfield, who is studying the law at Trinity College, and on publication it was banned in American Ireland for obscenity. And obscenity it does have. I gave this one 2 stars, and I apparently didn't write anything about it. Good one. I will be back in a second. Why is it not right? I swear I actually typed this out, but apparently I didn't. Trusty reading journal. Right, let's see if I can find it. Give me a sec. I should have pre-prepped this, but I didn't think of this. I think everything's on Goodreads. Goodreads have done me dirty this time. We can find it. It should be in here. Here it is. So, got it. I will type this in later. So while I actually got a grasp of what the themes were of this book, it is not for me, this one. It's definitely a 2-star. The behaviour of all the characters, both male and female, is absolutely appalling. I mean, I'm one for enjoying morally grey characters, as you all well know. And I enjoy sometimes just purely straight up villains. These characters are just purely not enjoyable. I mean, there's literally a scene of pure abuse in this one. Yeah, just not my thing. Apparently it is actually there, but it's not actually popping up. Okay, never mind. Okay, it is actually written, but clearly it's not. I don't know what. Right. Then we've got The Rum Diaries by Hunter S. Thompson. This is a mass market paperback version. And this one is about a guy called Paul Kemp, and he's moved from New York to the steamy heat of Puerto Rico to work at the Daily News. He starts hanging out at Al's backyard, a local den selling booze and hamburgers to vagrant journalists, who are mostly crazily drunks and on the verge of quitting. Then he meets Yeman, who is a delectable girlfriend as Kemp stewing in his own lust. But the idle tension that builds up in places where men sweat 24 hours a day is reaching a violent breaking point. Again, another 2 stars, and I think clearly from that you can clearly see why. This is not a very compelling writing style at all. It's a bit like Marmite. It's a book you're either going to really like or a book you're not. In this case, I didn't like it. It lacked character growth. It doesn't seem to have a purpose or a direction for which genre it would have, and I genuinely thought it would have. Have you noticed these are very manly man books as well? Johnny Depp does seem to read very manly man books, and that's kind of funny. Next we're going on to poetry. There we go. The Flowers of Evil by Charles Baudelaire. This I had actually a great time with. So The Flowers of Evil, which T.S. Eliot calls the great example of modern poetry in any language, shocked the literary world of the 19th century France, with its outspoken portrayal of lesbian love, its linking of sexuality and death, and its unremitting irony and its unflinching celebration of the seamy side of urban life. The volume was seized by the police, and Baudelaire and his publishers were tried in offence for public indecency, and 6 poems were banned, and a conviction was overturned until 1949. So this edition has restored the banned poems. I have tabbed my favourites in this, and I gave this 5 stars. I loved the heck out of this one. They were strange, they were beautiful, they were full of melody, they were morbid, and they combined everything I love. And it was a great translation. I can't read French. I can't speak French. Nor can I read it, and it's something I'm going to never be able to do because languages... Weirdly, I can speak a hint of Latin. Don't ask why and don't ask how. But I still fully understood what Baudelaire was trying to actually convey in this, and I understood the meaning behind each written word. So I have tabbed all my favourites. Yes, I know the tabs are different colours, but that's what I had and that's what I was running out of. So I have been finding favourites. I have to search for each one of these now. Another one of my favourites, The Master and Margarita by Mikhail Bulgakov? Don't know how to say that. So, I'm going to read you what this says. The devil makes a personal appearance in Moscow, accompanied by 2 demons, a naked girl and a huge black cat. When he leaves, the asylums are full of the forces of law and order in disarray. Only the master, a man devoted to the truth, and Margarita, the woman he loves, remains undiminished. This, again, another 5-star. This is a book where if you could understand this, you can understand anything. That's what I've heard. That's how I've heard this book kind of written. It blends the fantastical with the everyday, very seamlessly as well. It touches upon religion and historical aspects, and it gives the story a sense of off balance and that kind of like uneasy feeling in it. It involves evil in the form of the Satan and the devil, using Faust. Faust is a German story which was translated into English and written as a play by Christopher Marlowe. For all of you who don't know that, go and read that as well. Dr. Faustus, please, it's amazing. That's nothing to do with this video, by the way. And using Faustus' inspiration, it gives the reader a potent slap to the face of what Russian society was going through at the time, and even possibly taken of what parts of the world is actually going through right now. And when I read this was March, and this even now is more relevant than ever. If you like Good Omens as well, there's a possibility you'll like this. I thoroughly enjoyed it. And I just read Good Omens at that as well. Which is quite funny to think about. One of the most recent ones I read was On the Road by Jack Kerouac. I think that's how you say it. Kerouac. On the Road swings to the rhythms of the 1950s underground American jazz, sex and generosity. Chills dawn and drugs with the Cell Paradise and his hero Dean Moriarty. Traveller and mystic, the living epitome of beat, now recognised as a modern classic. Kerouac's American Dream is nearer than that of Walt Whitman and F. Scott Fitzgerald, and the narrative goes racing towards the sunset with an unforgettable exuberance and poignancy and passion. This was god-awful. Absolutely god-awful. I gave this 1 star. This book is very much a product of its time. You can still tell this was written in 3 weeks with very little editing as well. It's not aged well either. It really hasn't. And the editing short amount of writing time has not really helped its cause by any means. And I couldn't form a connection with any of the characters, so this was god awful. Terrible. And you're gonna see a theme here in a minute. And a reason why I will never be reading from this author again. Big Sur by Jack Kerouac. I just did not have my luck with this guy at all. So unmistakably autobiographical, Big Sur, Jack Kerouac's Nights novel, was written as the King of Beats was approaching middle age, reflects on his struggle to come to terms with his own myth. The magnificent moving story of Jacques Delors, a man blessed with great talent and cursed with the urge of self-destruction. Again, this was 2-star. It made absolutely no sense. And it's also very easy to tell this man was at his breaking point while writing this. And this really should not have been published. At all. It chips away at the beauty of a place when that's in reality not what that place is. And it ruins it. It really does. I will not be reading anything that man has published now. Whoops. 2 more left. And then we will be moving on to the next celebrity. How long will that take me? I don't know. Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas. This is by Hunter S. Thompson. I actually had a lot more luck with Hunter S. Thompson's second book that I read. So Hunter S. Thompson is driving to Las Vegas with his attorney, the Samoan, to find the dark side of the American dream. Roaring down the desert highway from Los Angeles, they realise there's only one way to go about such a perilous task. Getting very, very twisted. Armed with a drug arsenal of stupendous proportions, the duo engage in a manic, surreal tour of the sleaze capital of the world. Their perilous, chemically enhanced confrontations with casino operators, police officers, and assorted middle Americans have hallucinatory humour, nightmare terror, and righteously funny, daringly original, and dead serious at its core. Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas is a classic statement on the collapsing dream of American 60s. I gave this 4 stars. I really actually quite enjoyed this one, surprisingly. The stories, and it actually has illustrations. Where can I find you one? That's absolutely wacky. I'm not showing you that one. That was not appropriate. Where was I going with that? Okay, that'll do. Shit like this. Like, what the heck? It was very surreal. It was an absolute crazy ride. It was very vivid. And it's a pure criticism of what was wrong with the 1960s counter movement. It was a pure criticism of what was wrong with America now. Just saying. It's not a perfect book, but it was purely enjoyable. And I would read it again. And the last one In the Hand of Dante by Nick Toish. So deep inside the Vatican Library, a priest discovers the rarest and most valuable art object ever found. The manuscript of the Divine Comedy written by Dante's own hand. Via Sicily, the manuscript makes its way from the priest to a mob boss in New York City, where a writer named Nick Toish is to authenticate it. For this writer, the temptation is too great. He steals the manuscript in a last chance bid to have it all. As his dark, twisted journey unfolds, so does the parallel tale, the Odyssey of Dante himself, a man trying to weave a poem that contains some of the world's wisdom at the very breath of the divine. This was another 4 stars. I honestly thoroughly enjoyed this one. Things about religion, despite me not being a religious person, I really enjoy. It's so dark and full of very unique beauty. It's written in prose and in a prose style. It has answers all sorts of questions about God, religion, and the devil, while leaving room for your own thoughts and your own answers, with the possibility of more questions. And it actually left me wanting to read the Divine Comedy, which I actually own. Is it that one? Not the Divine Comedy? I think it is. I'll have to double check, but I do have a book by Dante. I really enjoyed this and would read this one again as well. So, that is all the books that Johnny Depp recommends and that I've read. I've probably missed some at some point, but this was kind of fun to do. I have realised I do not like Jack Kerouac, and I realised that Fierce Invalids, Home of Hot Climates is not for me. I have another Tom Robbins book, which another celebrity's read, so we'll see how I go with that one. So I hope you enjoyed this, and I will see you next video. Bye.